Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this bank holiday, as we say here in the UK, bank holiday edition of the Monday Motivation. So it's a new year, it's a new day, it's a new week, it's a new month, it's a new everything. And at this time of year, particularly, even forgetting the resolutions, the New Year's resolutions, I'm sitting by the radiator because it's nice and warm here. Even forgetting New Year's resolutions, it's quite common for people to think, you know what, this is a new time for me, this is a new start for me. I know that so many people out there set goals for their life, set goals for, it could be a new relationship, a better relationship, it could be a better relationship with your food, it could be that you want to go on a diet, you want to give up smoking, it could be that you want career progression. So whatever that is for you, I am quite excited about this Monday motivation. So I've just got a drink. I'm just going to take a sip of my drink. I have been up since 5:30. Can you believe it? On a bank holiday when everyone else is kind of chilling out. Right, so now I've had my sip of drink. Let me tell you about, and stop waving my camera around, so making you seasick and dizzy, but let me tell you about where this one came from. Yes, obviously it's a new year, it's a new start, but it's interesting because I'm not a New Year's resolution kind of girl. This year, however, has felt very different. Last year in 2016, hi Ali, morning. Last year in 2016, there were a lot of changes, and whether people wanted to express those changes or not, there were a lot of big kind of worldwide events that happened. And what I saw above the smoke and rubble of those changes were that people wanted things different. They wanted their life to be different. They actually wanted more control over their destiny and what they did. And I've noticed, especially in private client work that I've been doing, and also in corporate client work, people are kind of sick of the status quo. They wanted to take their life back into their hands. So fast forward to today, the 2nd of January, when I'm recording this, I did something quite unusual for me. And they say that if you want different results, do something different, If you keep doing if you keep on doing what you've always done, you keep on getting what you've always got, right? Well, I plan my year in September. However, I was slightly indecisive, so there are a few things that I've planned and kind of tweaked along the way. But yesterday I listened to a coach who I admire and follow quite a lot, and I felt really revved up to almost like tear the page up and start again and really look at the difference that I would like to make, just as me, to the world, to you who show up and watch these live, and to you who go back and watch the replays. And to those of you, thank you so much, who share these videos. There are people who share and like these videos, and I have no idea who you are. I've never met you before, but you come back and you're consistent and you just share your knowledge. So for those of you that have been sharing these videos, thank you very much. And also, as today in the UK anyway is a public holiday, it could be that you have friends who are setting either resolutions or goals or making plans or want something different. Please do give this a share. It might be watching bank holiday TV. That's all I'll say. So, as usual, I will share, and the reason I'm looking down is I've got some notes here, and these aren't notes of what I need to say to you, but these are my own notes, my own plans. So, yesterday I went through a process where I was looking at the overall goal, and there was something that I learned very many years ago that has stayed with me because it's so powerful. It's one of those things, it's so simple and easy to do that I actually forget to share it with people, and more importantly, forget to share it and do it myself as often as I would. So this is what I call starting with the end in mind. Sorry, I'm leaning on a very hot radiator here, so let me just shuffle around a bit. This is starting with the end in mind. Now, in order to make this super effective, you need to have at least thought of one goal that you want to achieve. It could be the giving up smoking, it could be the change in diet, it could be the meeting someone new, it could be parting from someone old, you know, it could be a better lifestyle for you to have around your family, your children, your grandkids. It could be anything like that. The one thing that I will say as a start is make sure the goal is about you. Now, a caveat to this, for those of you who are mothers, you spend so much time nurturing your children, and this is not one of those stop nurturing your children type things, but this is a little bit like the quite overused analogy about putting on the oxygen mask. If you want to have a better quality of life for your children and you want them to achieve certain things, they learn by what they see, especially when they're little, especially when they're babies. And they grow up modelling, at least up until the age of 7, they grow up modelling the people around them. So if all they see are their parents or the people around them with big dreams, big goals and big desires who kind of can't be bothered to live to them, you're actually inadvertently teaching them to do the same. So this is why I'm so passionate and why this is so important and close to my heart. So if you are on watching, and I can see a couple of you are, thank you very much for getting up so early on a holiday, a public holiday, and do feel free to type in the box so that Ali can say hello back to you and that I can say hello back to you. The other thing that I'd invite you to do, I want to keep it quite short and succinct today. I am actually working for a little bit of today, at least until about 2 o'clock. But one of the things that I really want to encourage you to do is to ask your questions, because it's all well and good watching these, but this isn't really TV. Yes, you watch and hear and maybe write notes and things like that, but I want you to be able to take what you hear today to the next step, to your best next step, and the one after that. So do ask any questions as and when they come up, no matter how random they are. So yesterday, as I was planning out or mapping out, and this one was work related, but this can be for anything else. As I was planning and mapping out what I wanted to do, people often talk about effective goal setting, and it's quite a popularised thing, I guess, to do in our culture, that we say, here I am now, here's the goal I want to achieve, maybe I want to stop smoking, so I'll work towards doing that. How do I do it? What can I do? And things like that. Well, years ago I discovered another way, and I called it starting with the end in mind. So going for the outcome that you want and starting from there and working backwards is actually really, really effective. So I'm going to talk you through an exercise, and do come back and replay this video. And this exercise is one that you can do for virtually any goal, anything that you want to achieve. So there's the look and feel I've talked about in the description of this. Now, where did that come from? So many years ago, I was a training manager for a commercial mortgage company. I was their national training manager, in fact. So not only was I responsible for training the staff, I was actually responsible for training their 14,000 strong broker client base. Yes, it was in financial services. Hey, Alan says, morning Jenny, morning Ali, hi Alan. And I was responsible for training them. And one of the jobs I absolutely adored was making up kind of materials that could be useful for them. And I was a fan of what I called like a quick reference guide, a one-pager that someone could have in their back pocket, so to speak, quickly look at it, refer to it, to be able to obtain the knowledge they needed quickly. And quite often how these quick reference guides would start out, or any collateral or materials that I produced, would start out with me in my notebook sketching something out, and then handing it over to the lovely Maxine, who I'm still friends with all these years later, even though we don't work for that company anymore. Handing it over to her, and she would have a look at it and start to sort of graphically design it. And there always came a point where we discussed what we called the look and feel. So in essence, she would pretty it up, but the look of it had to be right for the purpose it was serving, and it had to feel right as well. If it looked great but didn't feel right, it often didn't work. If it didn't look great but it felt good, again, it had more success, we found, but again, wasn't the best way forward. So I'm going to talk about the look and feel in the goals too. So I can see you all saying, good morning, Happy New Year. Yeah, what date do you stop saying Happy New Year to people, by the way? I just wondered. Shall I confuse everyone and keep going till the 30th of June or something? Oh dear. Oh, soon be Christmas, eh? Anyway, back to the matter in hand. So if you've got a goal in mind, and I'd like you, don't just listen to this, take action with this right here, right now. So think about a goal you've got in mind, and feel free to think about what I call a big, hairy, scary goal. Something that if you said out loud to friends and family, they might think you've lost it slightly. They might tell you to, well, you know, is that realistic? Is that achievable? That's one I would say to go for. So first tip is write it down. Now I know this sounds funny, but write it down, get it out of your head and physically write it down. Even if you never read it again, get it out of your head and down on paper. So here's how you're going to write it down. You're going to write down the thing that you want to achieve. If there are any barriers or blocks that you consider in achieving that, you do not write those down. So what you're basically doing is just expressing the thing that you want. And I'll link to another video that I did, 4 years ago maybe. I'll put the link underneath this so that you can see this process. But it's about voicing, it's about talking about what you want. And all too often, half the reason why, or in fact a small percentage of the reason why our goals don't come to fruition is because we know what we want. In fact, we know full well what we want, but we don't allow ourselves to express it. And we spend more time, more energy, and more focus on what we think will be hurdles or barriers to it and why we think we can't do it. Listen to anybody who, you know, have a conversation with anyone today and ask them if they've made any New Year's resolutions. Have they got any plans for the year? And as quickly as they'll tell you what they're planning to do, they'll very quickly tell you the reasons why they can't. Normally starting with, yeah, but this could happen, or, oh, I've tried this before and that happened. So very, very quickly, and especially in my kind of job, if you like, as a coach, I hear this a lot and I tend to clean that up really quickly because I want your success. I want you to make it happen. That's kind of why I'm on this planet, I think. So first of all, write down the goal that you want. So yesterday I wrote down the goal that I wanted to achieve, and I also wrote down 4 different kind of like, if you think of a spoke of a bicycle, of the wheel of a bicycle and the spokes, I wrote down 4 very distinct ways that I wanted to incorporate in achieving this goal. So once you've written your goal down, here's where the look and feel comes into it. I want you to literally take a deep breath and notice if you've got any tension in your jaws, in your shoulders, because that's kind of like a bit of a contraction. And that's a little bit of resistance. So notice if you've got any tension there and just breathe through it. Breathe in and out at a natural rate a few times until you feel your shoulders drop. And then think about that goal that you're looking at, the thing that you want to achieve. And now I want you to stand momentarily in the space that you've achieved it. I want you to stand in the space that you've achieved it, like the day after, or maybe the week after you've achieved it, but you've achieved it a couple of days ago perhaps. And I want you to pay particular attention to how you feel. That's the first thing. How do you feel? Are you feeling a bit gobsmacked? Are you feeling like, wow, oh my gosh, can't believe I finally did it after talking about it all these years? Are you running around the house naked and doing cartwheels because you're so ecstatic that you've reached this goal? Really notice how you feel, and also notice where in your body, this is a bit Darren Brown, but notice where in your body that feeling is. It'll be very, very distinct part of your body or parts of your body, and they will have all sorts of different feelings attached. It might be warm and fuzzy, it might be a tingle, it could be anything. For each and every one of you watching this, it will be different. There's no right, there's no wrong. So that's the feel of it. Now, looking at this goal that you've achieved like just a couple of days ago, what can you see? And I like to say like in your mind's eye, but what can you see? You know, are you looking at a svelte new figure in the mirror? Are you looking at your bank account? Are you looking at a smiling face looking back at you? Has your environment changed? All of a sudden, do you live in a different space, a different house perhaps? Do you have different people around you? So I really want you to notice what you can see around you. Now the next thing, and I think one of the most interesting things, in the same way that we create and bring things into reality, we set these goals, we have these tasks. In the same way that we do that, there'll be voices in our head, not kind of derogatory voices, but there'll be voices in our head that will tell us at any given time that we can do a thing or we can't do a thing. And Henry Ford is very famous for quoting, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So, sitting in that space, that feeling that you've got in your stomach, the thing that you're seeing around you, the feeling that you've got anywhere else in your body, maybe, it might not be in your stomach, often it is. So, looking around you, what is that quiet voice saying to you? And it'll be quite a quiet voice, almost like listen out for it. Is it saying, "Blooming heck, Jen, you did it. Oh my gosh, wait until you tell so-and-so." So take notice, not only of the look and feel of your goal having been achieved, but what else is going on? What can you hear? Is somebody kind of like running up your front path screaming and going, "Oh my gosh, Ali, you did it. Alan, I'm so proud of you." Is it the internal voice that you hear of somebody that has your best interest at heart? They might be here, they might have passed saying, "You did it, well done." And whatever you hear, make a note of these things. Make a note of what they are. You don't need to share it with anyone, but do make a note of them. So now you've done that, here's a really good, great and fun exercise to kind of like seal this. Standing in that place, having seen your goal achieved just a matter of days ago, maybe a matter of hours ago, you choose, there's no right or wrong. I want you to go either to your printer or to a notebook and get 10 pieces of paper. When I do this actually works really well with A4 paper. So I take the pages out of my printer. And I want you to get these 10 blank pages, and in the room that you're in, just lie them in a pathway, almost like stepping stones. Lie them out in whatever feels right for you. Some people it's a straight line, some people it's a curvy line, whatever feels right for you. Again, no right or wrong. And on the 10th piece of paper, you're now standing in the space of your look and feel, having had your goal achieved. And what I want you to do is to step either onto or just beside that 10th sheet of paper and ask yourself this question: what happened just before I achieved my goal? And your only job is to observe. And this will be different for everybody. It could be that you had gathered the work that you'd done before and you did this one thing. I don't want to sort of put ideas into your head because it will be different for everybody, but what happened in order to get you to that goal? What was the last thing that happened before that? Write it down or record it. I've done it before where I've just recorded it into my phone. Then once you've got all the juice from that, what have you seen around you? How are you feeling? What have you heard? What were you saying to yourself? That kind of thing. Then step on to the next piece, which is piece number 9. So what you're effectively doing is going from the goal having been achieved back to where you are today. So on number 9, in order for the thing that's just happened, that you've observed happened, what had to happen before that? Make a note of it, write it down, record it, and then proceed to 8. So just before that happened, what had to happen? Okay, and a very useful question is exactly that. What had to happen, not what has to happen, because that presupposes that it's still on its way, but what had to happen to get to step number 9, number 8, number 7. Okay, you can only complete the next step once you've gone through the process starting from 10. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, just put like a thumbs up or a love heart across the screen. If you want me to explain that a bit more, then just put a question in the question box. If you are looking at a goal that you've got, I'm really good at being able to help people with their goals without actually knowing what it is. I actually think that sometimes when people get into the whole, well, I'm looking to lose 2 stone and I eat too much chocolate and everything else, all of that content that they give me can sometimes get in the way, not only for them, but for me, because then I start coming up with bright ideas of, well, if you don't buy chocolate, then you won't have the problem. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask about this before we wrap up, then please type them in the box. If, however, you want to continue this conversation and maybe you want to know what I did yesterday, how I planned around my big goal, then do hop over into the Visibility Vibes Tribe, which is a free Facebook group. Now that Facebook group is there for support. There are lots of people just like you, big dreams, big plans, who don't poo-poo ideas, but actually encourage and spur each other on. The beauty of the group, of course, is that it's a closed group. So it means that your Facebook friends and family on Facebook don't see what you're posting. In fact, the only people that see what you're posting are those others in the group. So let's continue the conversation there. Let me know how you've got on with planning your steps backwards, with the look and feel of your goal. And also, if you need help in just articulating the goal in the first place, then by all means, post something in the group and I'll be happy to help and happy to answer with that. So once you've gone from having your goal achieved a few days back and you've gone to step 10 and asked, well, what had to happen for this stage to happen, and then gone back to 9, what had to happen then, and what happened before that, 8, and what happened before that, 7. So you go all the way back to page or piece of paper number 1. When you get to piece of paper number 1, you're back to today. This is one of the single most best ways I know to get stuff done. You have now created your own step-by-step guide, your own how-to go for that big ambition. For some of you, you'll use this technique over and over again, you'll see the results that you want to get and you'll be fine. Maybe you might hit a roadblock on some of the goals that you deem to be bigger or more difficult. There is no such thing as difficult. There is no order of difficulty. And for some of us, yeah, we can do this by ourselves, but we like the support of a friend, a coach, an accountability buddy or someone like that. And again, if this is you, do go into the Visibility Vibes Tribe group and do post in there and reach out and ask for a buddy to work with. But if you know that you work better with a coach or with a mentor, that group is also filled with people that specialise in coaching in different types of areas. Go in and ask your questions, find the person you need or want, ask for the help you need or want. And if it appeals to you to do that with me, then by all means, send me a message through this page and let's schedule a time to talk. Now, word of warning, if this is something that you want to do pretty quickly, you're going to need to do that within the next kind of 24 hours because on early hours on Wednesday morning, I'm going to be going away for a few days. So do get in and speak to me quickly. I've actually, bizarrely, a couple of weeks into December, I decided to put out that I had a few spots for people to work with me one-to-one for a year. And the take-up on that has been really, really good. So I literally have like 2 spots for 2 more people for this month. Now it's January, to say yes to that. So that will require a conversation. That will require a conversation for both of us to make sure that it's a good time for us to do that and a good fit for us to do that and that you're going to get the most out of it. So again, if that's you, get in contact and we'll have a conversation about that. So you've got this fun way now of achieving goals. Please don't rank them as big or small, hard or difficult, you know, or easy or anything else like that in between. There is no difficulty in the order of the things that you want to achieve in your life. The thing that makes a difference is the way that you view it. It's like, I call it like the modern day magic. Modern day magic changes when the way you think about it changes. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you have a lovely day. And if you're in your PJs, get back into your cosy warm bed and let me know how you get on with your, you know, various goals and various plans. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on next week's Monday Motivation, which is likely, because I will still be travelling, is likely to be a video format, but I'll make it nice and juicy for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.